We've all heard the phrase birdbrain, used as a casual insult. For centuries, we assumed that birds were simple creatures driven purely by instinct, operating on tiny primitive brains. But modern science has uncovered a mind-blowing truth. We were completely wrong. Deep within the avian world lies an intellect so sharp, so adaptable, and so surprisingly human-like that it challenges everything we thought we knew about intelligence on Earth. Some of these feathered geniuses can solve complex logic puzzles, invent their own tools, memorize thousands of hidden locations, and even outsmart us when we're not looking. Today we are going to dive into the wild and count down the 10 smartest birds on the planet. Get ready, because what they can do will leave you absolutely speechless. Let's start our journey at number 10 with a bird that doesn't just hunt for its food. It actually goes fishing just like a human angler. Meet the green heron. At first glance, this small, unassuming bird hanging around swamps and riverbanks might look like any other waiter waiting patiently for a lucky catch. But look closer, because what this bird does next is pure genius. Standing still and praying for a fish to swim by, the green heron takes control of the situation. It searches for a small object, a twig, a dropped piece of bread, or a live insect. Then, with incredible precision, it drops that object onto the surface of the water and steps back. It sits motionless, watching the floating lure. If the bait drifts away in the current, the heron will carefully pick it up and reposition it closer to where the fish are hiding. When a curious fish swims up to take a bite of the bait, bam! In the blink of an eye, the heron strikes, securing a fresh meal. Think about what is reflex or random luck. The green heron understands cause and effect. It comprehends the concept of baiting, predicts the behavior of another animal, and uses an external object as a tool to achieve a goal. That requires forward planning and abstract thinking, abilities that were once thought to belong exclusively in primates. And this is only number 10 on our list. Trust me, things are about to get even crazier as we go deep. Moving on to number 9. We have an animal that you probably walk past every single day without giving it a second thought. The humble pigeon. Most people dismiss street pigeons as mere pests, but beneath those gray feathers lies one of the most astonishing mathematical and visual minds in the entire animal kingdom. In controlled scientific experiments, pigeons have proven capable of recognizing all 26 letters of the English alphabet, and even telling the difference between human faces in photographs. But it gets even crazier. Researchers trained pigeons to distinguish between paintings by Pablo Picasso and Claude Monet. When shown brand new artworks they had never seen before, the pigeons could instantly group the Cubist paintings with Picasso and the Impressionist paintings with Monet. Even more astounding, Pigeons are among the extremely rare group of non-mammal animals that can pass the mirror self-recognition test. They actually realize that the reflection in the mirror is themselves, not another bird. Next time you see a pigeon in a park, remember, you're looking at a feathered art critic with a high-definition memory. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the secret intelligence of nature, take a quick second to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps our channel bring you more fascinating wildlife stories every week. Now, let's get back to our countdown. At number 8, we travel to the misty rivers of East Asia to meet a bird with an unbelievable sense of math and fairness, the cormorant. For over 1,000 years, traditional fishermen in China and Japan have formed a unique partnership with these sleek, aquatic divers. The fishermen tie a loose ring around the base of the cormorant's neck, which prevents the bird from swallowing large fish, but allows it to swallow smaller ones. The birds fly into the water, catch large fish, and bring them back to the fisherman's bamboo raft. But here is where the story turns into a mind-bending display of animal intelligence. In many regions, fishermen have a strict rule with their birds. The cormorant gets to eat every 8th fish it catches. Researchers observing this tradition notice something extraordinary. The cormorants actually keep count. When a cormorant catches fish numbers 1 through 7, it willingly gives them up to the fisherman, knowing its reward is coming. But as soon as it catches fish number 8, the bird refuses to move, dives no more, and steadfastly ignores the fisherman's commands until it is given its rightful share. If the fisherman tries to cheat the bird and take the 8th fish, the cormorant will literally go on strike, squawking furiously and refusing to work. This isn't just basic habit. It requires numerical counting, understanding a contract, and enforcing fairness. The cormorant isn't just a hunter. It's a smart business partner that knows its worth.
Here, my friend. This is for you.
Cow.
Enjoy your meal.
At number 7, we head to the isolated Galapagos Islands to meet an extraordinary evolutionary genius, the woodpecker finch. In this harsh environment, finding food in the dry season is a matter of life and death. Real woodpeckers have long, barbed tongues to extract insects hidden deep inside tree trunks. But this small finch doesn't have that physical evolutionary trait. So, how did it solve this problem? It invented its own medical-grade surgical toolkit. When the finch hears a juicy beetle larva wriggling beneath the bark, it flies over to a nearby cactus and snaps off a sharp, sturdy spine. If a cactus spine isn't available, it will find a small twig and shape it using its beak, trimming off side branches until it's perfectly straight. Holding the stick lengthwise in its beak, the finch inserts it into the tiny crevices of the tree trunk, poking and prodding until the startled insect crawls out. Even more amazingly, if a tool works well, the bird will carry it from tree to tree, saving it for future use. This is active, goal-oriented tool modification, a milestone in cognitive evolution that places this tiny songbird in the same problem-solving class as chimpanzees. Flying into number 6 is the gentle giant of the avian world, the stunning Hyacinth macaw. Boasting cobalt blue feathers and a massive, intimidating beak, this South American icon isn't just about good looks. It possesses incredible physical mechanics and generational wisdom. The primary food source for the hyacinth macaw is palm nuts, which are wrapped in a sledgehammer, struggles to crack them. To conquer this impenetrable food, the macaw doesn't just rely on brute force, uses physics. Before applying pressure with its jaw, the macaw places a small wedge, usually a piece of tough wood or a folded leaf, inside its mouth to act as a stabilizer. This wedge holds the slippery nut at the exact mechanical angle needed for its beak to exert maximum leverage without losing grip. In captivity, these brilliant parrots have been seen picking lock mechanisms, opening cage doors using makeshift keys, and creating complex games to entertain themselves. But what makes them truly special is how they pass this knowledge down. Young macaws spend years learning the physics of nutcracking from their parents, proving that intelligence in these majestic blue giants isn't just hardwired into their DNA. It's a living, breathing culture passed from one generation to the next. breaking into our top 5 is the infamous mountain-feathered mischievous genius of New Zealand, the Kia parrot. Known as the clown of the mountains, the Kia is the world's only alpine parrot, living in harsh, freezing environments where curiosity isn't just a personality trait, it's a crucial survival strategy. Tourists in New Zealand know Kias all too well because these fearless birds will literally disassemble parked cars, pulling off rubber wiper blades, unbuttoning backpacks, and unscrewing metal parts just to see how they work. But don't let their goofy behavior fool you. In formal cognitive tests, Kias have demonstrated mind-bending levels of logical reasoning. They can understand cause and effect chains involving multiple steps, such as pulling a lever to drop a weight, which releases a key, which unlocks a box containing food. Even more impressive is their ability to cooperate. In multi-agent puzzles where two birds must pull opposite ends of a string simultaneously to get a reward, Kias quickly realize they couldn't do it alone. They will actually wait for a partner to arrive, communicate through subtle head nods, and pull the string at the exact same millisecond. They don't just solve problems, they work as a tactical team. At number 4, we take a look at a tiny avian engineer that proves size has absolutely nothing to do with brainpower. The sunbird. Often confused with hummingbirds due to their small size and iridescent feathers, sunbirds found across Africa and Asia possess a sophisticated understanding of architecture, energy management, and tactical deception. Sunbirds feed primarily on flower nectar, but they are not mindless gatherers. They are master risk analysts. A sunbird will evaluate the depth and shape of a flower blossom before attempting to drink. If a flower's petal tube is too deep, requiring too much energy to hover and reach, the sunbird will perform a clever shortcut. It uses its sharp beak to pierce a tiny hole directly at the base of the flower, bypassing the pollen completely to steal the nectar inside. Scientists call this nectar robbing, and it shows a bird actively cheating the rules of nature to conserve calories. Furthermore, their nesting techniques are pure architectural genius. Female sunbirds build hanging, purse-like nests made of fine plant fibers bound tightly together with stolen spider silk. But they don't stop there. To protect their eggs from predators like snakes and hawks, they attach loose leaves and debris to the outside, creating a camouflage shield that makes the nest look like a clump of dead leaves floating in the wind. Some species even build a tiny roof overhang above the entrance to block rainwater and hide the door from plain sight. That's not just building a shelter, that's designing a stealth fortress. Stepping onto the podium at number 3 is a bird whose intellect will completely redefine how you view language and emotion in animals, the African gray parrot. For decades, scientists believed that parrots were simply mimic machines, repeating human words without understanding their meaning. But famous researchers like Dr. Irene Pepperberg and her legendary African gray, Alex, shattered that myth forever.
Well, aren't these delightful colors? A yellow triangle. Back you go.
An African gray parrot possesses the emotional capacity of a 2-year-old child and the cognitive problem-solving skill of a 5 to 7-year-old human. These birds don't just repeat words, they understand abstract concepts. An African gray can identify over 100 different objects, distinguish shapes, identify colors, and count items up to 6. If you show a tray of mixed blocks and ask how many red squares are there, the parrot will look at the tray, mentally filter out the wrong shapes and colors, and verbally answer with the correct number. Even more mind-boggling, African grays have shown an understanding of the concept of zero or none, abstract mathematical idea that human children take years to grasp. They can communicate their desires, express frustration, and even apologize when they make a mistake.
You are so smart, aren't you? Cool. Yes, you are.
And now, at number 2, we encounter the undisputed master craftsman of the animal world, the New Caledonian crow. Found on a tiny island in the South Pacific, this jet-black bird holds the crown for inventing the most sophisticated tool technology of any non-human species on Earth, outperforming even chimpanzees in standardized tool use tests. In the wild, these crows construct specialized hooks from spiny leaves and twigs to dig out fat beetle larvae from tree hollows. But when brought into research laboratories, their abilities become almost terrifyingly smart. In a famous experiment, scientists presented a new Caledonian crow with a straight piece of wire, a material it had never seen before in its life, and a deep tube containing a small bucket of food. The bird quickly realized that a straight wire couldn't lift the bucket. Without hesitation, it held one end of the wire in its foot and used its beak to bend the other end into a perfect hook, then used it to fish the bucket out. Even more insane is their ability to solve multi-step puzzles. In complex experiments requiring up to 8 sequential steps, the crow must use a short stick to reach a longer stick, then use that longer stick to release a stone, then drop the stone into a box to release a key, and finally use that key to get food. The crow evaluates the entire setup, plans all 8 steps in its mind before making a single move, and executes the sequence flawlessly. High-level engineering. That is, high-level engineering, foresight. And now taking the crown as the undisputed #1 smartest bird on Earth, the majestic common raven. With the largest brain-to-body ratio of any bird species, the raven doesn't just display clever tricks. It possesses a complex mind capable of deceit, empathy, abstract reasoning, and long-term future planning. Ravens are the ultimate tactical masterminds of the natural world. In the wild, if a raven notices another raven watching it hide food, it will pretend to store the food in one location, wait for the spy to leave, and then secretly move the treasure to a safer spot. This requires theory of mind, the ability to understand what another individual knows or doesn't know. Even more revolutionary was a study proving ravens can plan for the future just like humans. Scientists trained ravens to use a specific tool to open a puzzle box containing a treat. Later, they presented the ravens with a tray of various items, including the tool, but held the puzzle box back for 24 hours. The ravens didn't just pick the correct tool, they saved it and held onto it for an entire day, knowing they would need it tomorrow. They can exercise self-control, delay gratification, and anticipate future needs. Traits once thought to belong strictly to humans and great apes. Combine this with their complex social bonds, playfulness, and ability to hold grudges against specific humans for years, and the raven stands alone at the absolute apex of avian intelligence. Looking back at this incredible journey, from fishing herons to tool-making crows and visionary ravens, one thing becomes crystal clear. The phrase birdbrain should no longer be an insult, but a profound compliment. Nature has spent millions of years designing minds that are radically different from ours, yet capable of awe-inspiring feats of logic, creativity, and brilliance. It reminds us to stay humble and look at the natural world around us with newfound wonder and respect. Which of these 10 avian geniuses surprised you the most? Did you expect the raven to take the top spot, or were you amazed by the art-loving pigeons and tool-making finches? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video fascinating, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow nature lovers, and hit that subscribe button to join our community. Thank you so much for watching. Keep exploring the wild, and we'll see you in the next adventure.